The naturalists and conservationists of all ages have had a passion for this land, and we owe them thanks for fighting to preserve it in the untouched state we enjoy today.
The circles are the bear kills.
Black bear fatalities along this roadway were one of several reasons why local forestry people, conservationists, and concerned citizens have worked to help protect endangered species like the black bear, the Florida panther, scrub jays, and others. Most bear kills occur along the section of State Road 40 from the center of the Byway west to Silver Springs, where the bear population is the highest. Local artist Crystal Sellers lives in the Byway city of Palatka. Moved by the number of bear kills along the highway, she collected tire pieces along State Road 40 in the Ocala National Forest to create a sculpture in the shape of a bear slain by a car. Sorrowful is the name of this piece, which depicts the sad sight all too familiar to the people of the area.
This wonderful piece was on display at the senior thesis exhibition, and she won the Purchase Award, which meant that the piece became part of the permanent collection at Stetson.
You know, people have a blowout and they don't pick them up. They actually pry them off of the tire, but they don't mind to take it with them. It's like, that's your property and you're just like leaving it on the side of the road because it's no more of use to you, which is kind of how people treat animals.
We think this piece really kind of highlights our mission of the Florida Black Bear Scenic Byway.
The bear as an umbrella species ties in exactly with what we've been saying in our presentations and in our literature. We say the bear represents all the critters that live along the byway, all the critters that we're trying to protect.
The image of that bear is still etched into my memory because of how it made me feel.
There's one right there.
The scrub jay is a rare bird that is unique to this habitat. Jim Thorson was a forest ranger here in the Ocala for a number of years before retiring.
And this is the type of habitat that they prefer. They like a low understory vegetation with very little canopy, because the canopy is when the Cooper's hawks and the other predators come in, and that's what they don't like.
Jim now does consulting and is a major advocate and volunteer for the Florida Black Bear Scenic Byway.
The area that we're looking at right here is a high elevation area in what is known as the ancient island scrub. When everything else was an ocean all around us 3 million years ago, this was probably an island, a sand dune that was stuck out in the ocean. And there's certain plants that grow on here that usually don't grow anyplace else. And one of them is the Calamenthae ashii, which is commonly called the scrub mint. And if you pull off there a stem and you roll the leaves up, it's almost like a mint, and it smells very good.
Back in the days when the Native Americans were here, there was a huge shell mound, probably 20 feet high. There may have been 35 acres here, according to some of the early archaeologists. The middens indicate these large shell areas that were formed from the St. Johns River. It was a freshwater shell, and they would brew the broth and use the flesh from the snail, and the shells over thousands of years accrued to a midden that was as much as 20 feet high. It was just part of their sort of kitchen garbage heap.
Kathy Lowenstein is another local Forest Service ranger who also is a member of the Florida Black Bear Scenic Byway Committee.
A lot of the concern is what the impacts of the road is on the natural resources themselves, whether there's fragmentation of wildlife, difficulty in conducting the prescribed burns that are really necessary to keep that natural community functioning the way it is.
Among the planned byway improvements are measures to prevent roadkills to bears and other wildlife. Raised roadways, easements, fences, and under-the-road tunnels designed specifically for wildlife are some of the protection measures. This whole area would probably be less natural if not for the efforts of Marjorie Harris Carr. There were plans to build a barge canal across the state, which would have devastated the fragile ecosystem of the area. For over 15 years, Marjorie Harris Carr led the charge to stop the barge canal. Both Marjorie and her husband Archie Carr were noted and influential conservationists who contributed to the preservation of the Ocala in its natural state. In honor of her efforts, the Cross Florida Greenway was named after her. This is Chris Kincaid, another local Forest Service ranger.
There's a lot of things I love about Florida, and particularly this area of the state here in Central Florida, but the vast wetlands and the river systems are just really incredible. The wildlife is out of this world. People come from all over the world to Florida just to see some of the lesser known species. Out of all the places I've been, the wildlife here in Florida is probably the best that I've seen.
In Florida, it's an ecosystem all of its own, and it's one that takes a lot of nurturing and love and a very fragile balance, mind you. If we don't take time to be careful with it, there's a very good chance that we could lose this.
This tree right here is 30 feet in diameter. It's 350 years old. It's 79 feet in total height. It's 117 feet across in canopy spread.
In the 1700s, William Bartram came through here passionately cataloging the native plants, wildlife, and tribal people of the area. The local Indians called him the flower hunter, and his euphoric accounts brought worldwide attention to the beauty and mystery of the area.